everyone, it's Carly here and you are listening to episode 10 of the Made for More podcast, and this is without a doubt my favourite episode so far. I love all the other episodes and everyone has a little thing that I love, but this one is absolutely packed with so many nuggets, so much so I've actually re-listened to it about 5 times since we only recorded it last week, and I'm just obsessed with it. So I'm going to tell you all about it in a second, but first of all I want to tell you about something so exciting that's just released this week. So having spent a lot of time with entrepreneurs now and having spoken to you a lot, I know that one of the biggest things that's holding most of you back from realizing that you are made for so much more than you can imagine is your own self-doubts. Anyone here struggle with self-doubts? Anyone here struggle with the craziness that goes on in their head? So if you're listening to this and you have doubted yourself before, you're struggling with self-belief, or you know that you could be doing so much more than you are right now, but you keep finding yourself in the same rut where you're just frustrated and thinking, God, get out of my head, then this is for you. So I have put together a 5-step course called the Self-Belief Booster, and this is how to overcome your self-doubts in 5 simple steps. And this is a thing that I always come back to whenever I'm leveling up in my life and whenever I'm looking to go to that next step and that doubt creeps in. That is very normal, we all get it. As soon as that doubt creeps in, I always come back to these 5 fundamental skills and I'm back on track again. And the reason that I've achieved all of that I've achieved right now is because I keep coming back to this place. So I'm so excited for you to get your hands on it. It is released now, so all you need to do is click the link in the show notes, or if you follow me on Instagram, Made for More Pod, then you'll find the link in my bio and you can click the link. You just need to give your email address and then the access is yours. It is all free. You don't have to pay anything for it. What an absolute treat. But I know that this is going to be such a game changer for you, and I know it's going to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. So you are welcome, my friends. So let's get into what this podcast is all about. I had the honor of interviewing the incredible Michelle HILLIER. Now, Michelle is the author of Inspired Magic, and she is also an executive coach to entrepreneurs all around the world. She's also an NLP practitioner, and she is just so good. So I wanted to get her on this show because she has actually been coaching me. She's been mentoring me to take my business and take myself to the next level. And I've got so much from working with her. So I just had to bring her on the podcast so that you can all see how magical she really is. And this episode was amazing because we covered so much stuff. We covered motherhood and entrepreneurship and the battle and the kind of balancing the two of them. We also covered writing a book, the process of writing a book and how to actually get it published. We also, at the end of it, she did an amazing visualization exercise with me, which I know is going to help so many of you. And just in that moment, I feel like I've got so much clarity on my goal. So I think you're really going to enjoy going through that exercise with me and applying it to your own life. But I'm just so excited for you to hear this woman, and I know you're going to get so much from it. So make sure, if you're loving this podcast, which I know you will be, then take a screenshot, add it onto your Instagram, tag me at Made for More Pod, and share it with the world because so many people need to hear this. So enough of me. I don't want to take up any more of your time. Let's get into the good stuff. Enjoy. Hi, Michelle. I'm so excited to have you on the call today. How are you doing?
Yeah, wonderful. So happy to be here.
Me too. So me and Michelle I've been working with Michelle for a little while now, a few weeks, and Michelle's actually been mentoring me. So as lots of you know, I've been working in network marketing and that kind of industry and profession I'm good with. I've really studied it and I feel good. But outside of that, I felt like I really needed some help and I needed some mentoring. So things like, definitely being accountable, but also things like email marketing and course creation and all things social media that are just outside of the network marketing realms. Felt like I needed some help. So started working with Michelle, and you've helped me so much. You really, really have. And I can't believe, so we've been working together now, I don't even know, what is it, 6 weeks?
September 8th. Yeah, so September 8th.
Yeah, so not that long at all, but I've made major progress, and you just held me so accountable and kept me on track. So everything that I'm coming up with in the next couple of weeks is pretty much down to you cracking the whip and being like, come on, hello, get this done.
It's down to you doing the work. I crack the whip, but you do the work.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a good relationship. So I'm so excited to have you on the call today because you have gone down a journey that I aspire to go down as well. It's something that I really want to do, and I love what you've done with your life, and I love actually how where you are today is definitely not how you started out. And when you came out of university, I don't think you probably thought that you were going to end up where you are right now. So how did that journey go? Where did you start coming out of university? How have you ended up here?
Yeah. Well, first I want to say something that I've noticed, because you're in network marketing, something that I've noticed about all network marketers who are very successful as you are, is they all really value personal growth and development. All of them. It's something that you really all have in common. So I just want you to realize that all the growth and things that you've had and the success is down to you doing the work, because it does come down to you. But it's such a good question, because first of all, I went to university for foreign languages and literature with a focus on Spanish and French, and I ended up doing my graduate degree as well. So that has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with my life now, which is a good thing, because it just means that I've changed and grown and learned all the things. Yeah, I was a teacher at university for 6 years after grad school, and I loved it and I miss it every day. I really, really liked it. But to be perfectly honest, to make ends meet, I was bartending at night. I was waiting tables in the weekends. I was doing anything but, what I really loved, which is teaching. And that's really about kind of the US school system. I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the US, this is very a common story for teachers. And so I started working in corporate, and I did that for, over 12 years. But I think with most coaches in life, and maybe you've had a similar experience, there was just a radical something that happened, and kind of everything changed for me. I mean, do you have something that really caused you to make a shift and decide to work for yourself? I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it was getting injured. Like I was always going to be a dancer, and that was always the track, and then got injured. And at the immediate time, you think it's a major setback. And I know that you've had a similar thing as well. And you think, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Why is my life going this way? And you really kind of go into like a victim status. And now I realize that it was all happening for me. It threw me into a whole new direction, which I never would have gone in. And yeah, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. And I know for you, I mean, you had a major life thing, didn't you?
It started in 2010. In December 2010, I was stopped at a stoplight in my car, and I was at work, and the person behind me just didn't see me and hit me rear end going over 40 miles an hour, just landed straight into me. And it resulted in a couple of things that really did change my life. One is physical pain that lasted for years. And no matter who I saw, chiropractors, pain specialists, like anybody under the sun, I threw money at anyone who could possibly help me, and I couldn't get any relief at all, until I met someone who was a practitioner of non-linguistic programming. And for those of you who don't know what NLP is, it's basically, if you break it down, neuro being the brain, linguistics being the words that you tell yourself in your mind or out loud, and then programming is basically kind of the programming that we run, the way that we do things. And there's a reason why you chose to have those things on the wall, and there's a reason why you decided to wear this today, and there's a reason why you sit the way you do. We all have programming. And so it was through her that I started in this journey. I started getting relief. And I said, wait, I need to know everything I possibly can about this. And it was during my master practitioner. So I became a practitioner, fell in love, absolutely loved it. Decided, okay, you know what? I need to know everything. It was at my master practitioner. I'm sitting in the chair, and I tell the teacher, Adriana James, by the way, who's absolutely brilliant. And I say, I want to be the volunteer for whatever process you have with pain, because I still had some pain. And she said, well, you have to, basically buckle up for a journey, like a big, big kind of thing. And so I'm sitting in this chair, and we're going deep into my subconscious on why I still had this pain. And it comes out that I wasn't allowing myself to feel angry about the accident, because the person who hit me actually lost their life. So the accident is quite severe.
Wow.
And because of that, I didn't ever allow myself to be sad or upset or anything, because I felt guilty. Like, how dare I even bother like feeling angry about this pain when somebody else, resulted in something far, far worse. But in having this realization, first of all, I was like projectile crying. If tears could like shoot out of your face and like hit the audience, they did. And then everyone watching was also crying. But for 3 years straight, I wasn't able to look left like barely, like just maybe 10 degrees, could not look left. And it was because during the accident, I actually wasn't looking left. So I wasn't looking in my rear view. I was stopped at a stoplight. I didn't need to look forward, but it was my body was stopping me from looking left because it meant danger. And in just 5 minutes of working through this exercise, I had full range of motion in my neck. And it changed my life forever. And I said, that's it. Like, this is my course for the rest of my life. I want to dive so deep into this and help others. And so
Oh my God.
it's crazy.
It's so crazy. And I've seen this play out loads, in the sense that your mind actually creates physical pain and actually creates limitations in your body and restrictions and everything like that. And yeah, I love that what actually started out with genuine pain has turned you into your biggest passion, I'm sure, and just your complete kind of life purpose.
Absolutely. And it makes me realize just, how much we do to ourselves unconsciously. Now, the great thing is my unconscious mind was trying to protect me, because it had made this, like, it created meaning between me looking left and being in pain and having trouble. So while my unconscious was doing everything it could to help me in its mind, it was actually doing me quite a bit of harm. Like, it was really messing with my entire life. And I think this is just indicative of everything in our life. Like, we create all of these different beliefs because we think they're helpful, but so often they are harmful. And if anything, like, really stopping us from living the life we were meant to live.
Yeah, totally. And I think guilt is such a powerful emotion as well, isn't it? And so many people carry so much guilt around so many things, and we don't actually realize that it's holding us back. Sometimes as well, you really don't want to face the truth of what you feel guilty about or whatever. But yeah, it's so interesting. It so makes me want to look more into NLP and everything like that. Obviously, I'm massively into mindset stuff, but yeah, NLP is so fascinating. So you work with loads of entrepreneurs now. By the way, if anyone is looking for a mindset business coach, even though Rochelle's helped me so much with like all of the kind of practical stuff, the mindset stuff is really what draws me to you, because you have a way, I think, of helping me and lots of other women that have been on the training with us see things differently. I think you give like a new insight, and you ask questions which make you really get a bit more insight into what you're doing and your own mindset and stuff like that, which I think is amazing. So you've worked with loads of entrepreneurs, and one of my biggest passions is helping people keep going, like get past the bit where they want to quit. We all have that moment. We all have those times where we're like, oh God, I just can't do this anymore. And the entrepreneurial journey is a total roller coaster. So unfortunately, so many people do quit. They do give up. Having worked with so many entrepreneurs now, what do you think it is that makes people quit? What is it that is holding people back from just keeping going?
Oh my gosh, this is such a phenomenal question. And obviously there's a lot of different reasons, but more than anything else, it's really just the belief system that a person has. So your belief system has to be that you believe it can happen, then you do the work, and then it happens. But it cannot be you do the work, but you're not going to really fully do the work until you see things happening, and then you'll believe they'll happen. The belief has to come first. And so often we're surrounded by loved ones who are really, they're guided by certainty. They need to know where their paycheck's coming from. They need to know how many hours they're working in a week. They need to know when the result's going to come. And that's not a bad thing. Being driven by certainty is not a negative thing whatsoever. But entrepreneurs, they cannot be driven by certainty, or they won't make it. So if you allow the external voices to really just overrun your own internal voice of, I can do this, and maybe it's uncertain for now, but I can make it happen no matter what, that's when people stop. When they have their loved ones who really just are able to get in there. And let's face it, here's the thing. I have a lot of my entrepreneurs who get really angry at their family members or their friends or their spouses. And they're like, why can't they support me? Why they don't just, throw in there and say, you're the best, you can do it. At the end of the day, most people have our best interests at heart. Most people are just trying to protect us. And so it's really up to us to say, listen, I love you and I thank you for your interesting point of view. And not but, because but means that you're not listening to what they're saying, but and this is like a little communication tip. And I'm going to keep going. So if you really want to support me and see me succeed, here's what I need from you. So I think it's just about, letting the doubt creep in and expecting the belief to come before the action. Like, that's what has to happen. You have to have the belief first.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with having that conviction in how you come back to the loved ones as well. Like there's a difference between having conviction and belief in yourself and being defensive, I think. And I love the way that you worded that and just saying, you know, this is what I need from you to support me. And I think I heard something once, which is always assume best intentions. And that really helps in loads of situations, because so many times we can take things really personally. We think that someone's personally attacking us and they're not supporting us. So, you know, that's a really bad thing. But just if you always assume best intentions, it helps you in so many situations, doesn't it?
It does. Well, it goes back to creating meaning out of everything that happens. So as human beings, we need to create meaning. You know, if somebody's giving me a mean look, that means she doesn't like me. She doesn't like my outfit. She thinks I'm stupid. But if we ask the question, you know, what else could it mean? It could mean that she's having a bad day. She wasn't even looking at me. She was looking in the mirror past me. Maybe she thought I was someone else. What else could it mean? Asking the question, what else could it mean, is a really good way to just shift the whatever thought is really going through your head. And then also in NLP, which is very much what you just said, is we have the saying, everyone is doing the best with the resources they have. Mm-hmm. Everyone is doing the best with the resources they have. People who are not entrepreneurs, that's not a good or bad thing, but they have a different set of mindsets and skills and things that they operate by. So yeah, they're doing the best they can with the resources they have. So yeah, I love that. They have the best intentions. It doesn't mean it works out well, but it does shift the way that it makes you feel.
Yeah, totally. I love that when you said, what else could it mean? That's such a good, it's a tiny shift, isn't it, in how you look at stuff, but it has a massive impact on how it makes you feel and kind of mood it puts you in. So that's amazing. So one thing one of the biggest things I'm most grateful to you is that when I started our training program together, you helped me with probably one of my most monumental lessons. I didn't really realize that I needed it at the time, but you helped me with it straight away. It was literally on our first call and I was like, ta-da! Oh my God, what has just happened? And that is, so we, at the time I was starting that call, I was feeling really overwhelmed. So obviously I've got my business. My little boy is 1 now. So as you know, as a mum, that really ramps up and you're trying to be like the best mum you can be. And I was trying to be the best leader I could be. And I'd just taken on this new coaching program and I had massive, massive goals. And I've got a massive drive and I've always been really driven and ambitious. And I was starting to think, I can't do this now that I'm a mum. And I felt like I was like failing as a mom, I was failing as a leader, I was failing at wherever. And I just felt like I was overwhelmed trying to be all things to all people. And I just couldn't do it. And so I got on this call with you. And to be honest with you, I kind of wanted to message and say, I've been having a little think about my life choices and I don't think this is for me right now. I've taken on too much. I just need to step away. That's really what I wanted to say. But I got on the call anyway. And one of the first things that you said was that you introduced yourself and you set the kind of the rules of the group as such. And you said, so what's going to happen here is we've got a Slack thing, which is a really great messaging tool. You get access to us pretty much 24/7. You can ask us anything. We're always going to give it back. However, at the weekend, that's family time. So just give us 48 hours and we'll come back to you when we can. That blew my mind. It sounds so simple, but I was like, oh my God, she's got boundaries. Oh my God, she's just set a boundary. And on the receiving end of that, I was like, oh my God, duh, of course, spend time with your family. My question can wait. But for me in my life, my WhatsApp for my whole team was, I was there 24/7, 1 o'clock in the morning, I would reply to a message. And as soon as I wake up, I was replying to a message and I was taking calls, even when it wasn't suitable. And I was trying to get Frankie down to sleep, but I was still booking in a call because I felt that I had to. And so my biggest revelation was like, you need to set some boundaries. And since I've set some boundaries, oh my God, I just feel so much more empowered. I feel like I can do so much more. I'm still trying to do the same things, but I feel like I'm being a better mum. I'm a better leader. I'm just achieving way more. And it's that tiny thing that just changed everything. So I wanted to give you props for that.
So good. Well, props for you for setting the boundary. So good. We talk about a lot, especially in the self-development world, the 2mm shift that comes from Tony Robbins. It's not about making this 180-degree shift in your life. It's about making tiny little shifts along the way that make massive impacts. And boundaries don't just empower you. they actually empower the people around you, because oftentimes they get too used to just saying like, how do you do this? But if you actually empower them to find the answer, not only are they going to become better at it, they're going to become more resourceful in their own entrepreneurial journey, because if they're in your downline, you want to give them the power to be able to find a lot of these resources on their own as well. So it's not just good for you, it's actually really good for the people around you as well. But yeah,
100%.
that's so cute.
It's so cute. That actually showed up straight away as well. Like as someone in my team messaged me and they asked me a question, and I didn't get back to them straight away because it just wasn't suitable. I was with Frankie and I was putting him to bed, and then I got another message a couple of hours later saying, "Hey babe, don't worry about it. I've sorted it out. I figured it out myself." And she felt amazing, and I felt amazing, and it was just it was quite revolutionary.
Makes such a big difference.
I know, it really does.
Oh,
so talking of boundaries, you are a new mum to 8-month-old Luca, who is just so gorgeous. And I know that, well, knowing you for as long as I've known you, which is not very long, but I do know that you are mega driven also. You have massive goals and you want to achieve a lot in your life. How have you found the shift from being like, a power boss babe to mum, but probably still with the same drive?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No one's asked me this question. That's such a good question.
Oh, really?
It's really tricky because so I'm 40. And so I had him quite late in life. And a lot of that is because I've always just done business. There are years where I've flown over 200,000 miles in an airplane to go to meetings all over the world, all over the country. There was a point in time where I was flying to the East Coast from the West Coast every other week. So business has always been such a huge part of my life. And when, I fell pregnant with Luca, it was like immediately, it was like this, oh crap moment. Like, what does this mean? And yeah, there's a bit of like crisis identity that happens. Like, who am I now? That happens. But the one thing that I've always really kind of prided myself on is whatever I'm focusing on, I give it everything. And so I've had to really shift gears a lot of ways. So one is setting boundaries with all of my clients. Like, no matter who they are, I let them know, like, this is what's going to happen. I used to be able, just like you, I'm going to respond every single second. I'm going to be there all around the clock. I'm going to constantly check my phone. If I wake up in the middle of the night, I look at my phone to help people. By the way, that's a terrible practice. Nobody do that. That is awful for don't do that. But now I have to have my phone away from me when I'm playing with him. And it's just like, it's you, for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want him, because our kids model us so much. He's going to start picking up his like play toy banana and be like pretending to talk on the phone. He's going to start like pushing buttons on his soccer ball because this is what he just sees from me. And also I don't want to give half energy any which way. So I've just decided to shift it to whatever role I'm in at the moment. It's either like CEO of motherhood or CEO of my company. And just trying to really, not trying, but doing my best to, because I don't like the word trying, you guys, like take it out of your vocabulary. You do or you don't. Just doing my best to be super present in whatever area I am at the moment, and really had to scale back massively on my business, massively, getting real smart about business versus working just really hard.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think it is actually a blessing, because what it's done for me is, I found that when I first left my job and was just doing my business, I had so much time that actually I was getting nothing done. I had way too much time to overthink, and I was just fapping. And now with less time, I really just think, what are the things that are going to make this ship move? Like, what do I actually really need to do to make some progress? So yeah, it is definitely a blessing. Sometimes having way more time in your business is not a great thing. And obviously having a baby is an amazing why, isn't it? It lights a whole new fire under you.
It does. You know what? As a mother, and any new moms out there, they will now realize what I can accomplish in 30 minutes now is a miracle. I can accomplish in the 30-minute nap that he has more than I usually took like 3-4 hours to do, because it's just like, there's no faffing about. You just go at it. That's it.
It totally is. I actually loved in your book, I'm going to talk to you about the book in a minute actually, but one thing that I loved in it is that you said when you sit down to do a task, a great way of kind of like not procrastinating and stuff like that is that you say to yourself, okay, you can do this, but if you don't do this, you can't do any other thing. You can't check your phone. You can't do the other things that you need to do on your to-do list. So you either do this or you sit and you do nothing. And that was amazing way of thinking about it, because there is always something more appealing to do, isn't it? Like I even sat down today to do something and I need to send a Moonpig card to someone, and I was thinking, oh, I'm just going to hop on there and I'm going to do the Moonpig card. And then I thought, no. And you're like, your voice came in my head and I was like, you can only do that task or you sit in silence.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's my number one tip for a power hour is you have to set the precedent and say, this is the thing that I'm going to do. And you can't do anything else. And that is true. If you want to sit there and just stare at the computer, you cannot check your Facebook, your email, your anything. You do that or nothing else. Another just kind of part of that is also removing all distractions, because let's face it, if you haven't seen The Social Dilemma, have you seen The Social Dilemma on Netflix yet?
Horrendous.
It's horrendous. So obviously, like we're sitting next to a little slot machine that's constantly making noise, and like, are we winning? Are we losing? Are we winning? Are we losing? We have this like pull towards it. So you have to remove everything around you. You have your water. You use the bathroom beforehand. Yeah, and even this week, because this week I am super underwater with all the amazing things I have going on, I had to set a 5-minute timer. And it's like, in 5 minutes, do as much as you possibly can, because it makes you focus. You have no choice. You've got 5 minutes. So kind of gamifying my own priorities. It's been crazy.
I love that. You can do so much in 5 minutes though. I often find when I put the kettle on, I set that as like a little goal for myself. I could put the kettle on and I think it's about a minute. And I think, what can I get done in that minute? You can actually get quite a lot done. And if you're very competitive and red personality like me, you're like, you want to beat the kettle every time. Oh God.
I love that so much.
Yeah, no, you get loads done with the kettle. So obviously I've just mentioned the book. So Michelle, you are the author of Inspired Magic, which is an amazing book. I found it so just clear. You know, it's an amazing personal development book, and it's so practical and so clear, and it really, again, got me thinking in new ways. So I've made it, it's no secret that I really want to write a book one day. I have a huge vision that one day I'm going to write a book, and it's going to be, my launch of the book is going to be in Barnes & Noble in New York. The reason it's going to be there is that a couple of years ago, I was in a terrible place in my life, and I went to New York to try and find myself, and I walked around that bookshop for hours just trying to find the book that would save me from my own crazy head. And I sat in the coffee shop and read this book for ages. And so that's my vision, that I'm going to come back there and have that launch. But I wanted to know whether you were the same as me, whether you've had the idea that, I want to write a book one day, and then the idea of what the content was came after that, or did the content just come to you and you were like, oh, I just need to get this out on paper?
Oh gosh, it's such a good question. So I had it on my bucket list to write a book starting in 2003 when I graduated from grad school with a literature degree. I'm like, I just need to get a book out because it's in me. I want to do it. Honestly, I've had this goal forever and ever and ever and ever. And it wasn't until I took a trip to Rome, actually this week, 4 years ago this week. And when I arrived, I was by myself. I was there meeting up with 4 other women that I've never met before, who I was doing a mentorship program with in Rome, of all places. And it was my first international trip by myself. And I arrived at this, I'm plugging this hotel. You guys have to go. I don't even know how you pronounce it, but it's Hotel H. I think it's like Heitch. Anyway, in Rome, in the Piazza Navona. It used to be the home to Pope Innocenzo the 10th. Anyway, I'm sitting here at 7:30 in the morning, drinking a cappuccino, and all of a sudden, like, the words came to me. I was like, holy crap, this is where the book starts. And I wrote for hours, and it just like flowed right through me. And it came to the point where I've written enough to have like 5 books, and I had to like tailor it and really knock it way, 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 way down. But there just came the moment where I was like, you know what, now is the time. And that's how the book started. Truly, like, there's always been kind of ideas floating about, but it was like inspiration hit me so hard. And I was like, it's go time now.
That's so good. I love it when stuff comes to you like that. Sometimes I get that with like a big training that I'm planning. It's normally like I'm laying asleep and I'm just trying to get to sleep, and then something comes and I'm like, and you just like written out the whole thing. That's when you know you're writing truly. Because I think as well, like, sometimes you can think about writing a book in the sense that this is just what I want to say, or you can think, I want to write this book because I think this is what the reader wants to read. And I think that's sometimes a dangerous place to get into, isn't it? Because you're just not, you're probably going to miss the mark. So the fact that you were in that flow is probably why the book is so good, because it's kind of just what you want to say. It's from the heart, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's honestly, like a couple of things. One is it's what all my clients keep asking me for. You know, I've worked one-on-one with clients for a number of years, and there's certain activities, like you said, for the power hour, nobody has to hire me to work one-on-one to learn how to do a power hour. I really wanted to be able to give some of the basic but most impactful tools to the masses for like a really cheap price too. You know, there's no reason why somebody has to pay a high ticket to really change their life in small ways. Again, going back to the 2 millimeter shift. And then, yeah, I had to get it out. Just really needed to get it out. And you're so right about flow. My biggest like moments of flow come when I'm in the shower, when I can't write anything down. Or like you can't write anything down. I've got it all in my head now. I hope it stays.
Ah, that's good. I do just love those crazy moments of flow. So do you think you've got more books in you? Is that your plan to get some more out?
So many books. I have so many books. I have so many. The one that I'm working on right now is it's mindset and motherhood, because I feel like there's not a lot of resources out there for women to really be able to understand like how to integrate this whole new piece of them. It's when your child is born, you're born into being a mother. And so that's a huge piece. And I do believe that there's a lack of just help out there. They ask you, you know, so you've been through it. I'm sure it's the same in the UK. Every time I go to a doctor's appointment, they ask me if I'm sad or if I'm depressed or if I'm not sleeping. And then they're going to throw a pill at you if you say yes. But they really don't give you the resources of why it's happening. And if you can get to the root of like, why is this happening and how can I work through it? And nobody's broken. You know what I mean? Just being able to work through it. So yeah, that's a big book that I have. And then I have a children's book that I've been working on forever that I love, but just still haven't put out.
Oh, I love that. I mean, if you can write a book on mum guilt, that would be delightful, because God knows what that is. It's real and it's rife. I tried to explain it to Kurt the other day and I was like, I just feel like a sense of guilt. And he's like, what do you feel guilty about? He's so practical. He's like, well, what is it? And I'm like, no, I don't know. That's the point. I feel guilty about something. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but just had this feeling. And he's like, but what is it? And yeah, that whole knowing kind of, yeah, if you could tap into your mind about that and realize why you feel those things, and if you could learn to switch that off, that would be wonderful.
I don't think there's any way to shut off guilt, but there is a way to integrate it into a more positive, productive kind of way of doing things. Oh yeah, mom guilt's so big. I say it to my husband all the time. I'm like, oh, we should do more of this, or I wish I had more time to do this. And it's like, you only have so many hours in the day. And ultimately, you know, my point of view is, and it doesn't have to be anybody else's, I like him seeing me do things that are separate, you know, so that as he grows up, it's not always like mom is this one faceted role and nothing else, you know, but it's so hard. No, nobody wins, nobody loses, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I definitely think being a mum and an entrepreneur is a real like funny battle in your head, because on the one hand, you're like, I'm working right now, but I could be taking him to a soft play, and we're doing that. And so you feel guilty in that way. But then in the other sense, I'm like, but I'm giving him an incredible example of hard work right now. And I think it's so important that like work ethic is a brilliant example to teach your kids, but also I think it's so important that the mum keeps their own inner purpose and has their own drive and their own desires and life and stuff like that. I'm really kind of pro, it's your life and the baby's life. Then you don't become the baby's life. Do you know what I mean? You don't just become
separate identities.
Mum. Yeah, for sure. But it is definitely, it creates more of a battle, I think, in terms of, am I doing the right thing?
I know there's no right answer. And especially, I don't know how it is in the UK, but in the US, if you're an entrepreneur, you have no maternity leave. So I was back to work full time right after he was born. It was that, or donate, make ends meet. So it's just a really weird, I'm really highly envious of countries like Denmark and Sweden and all the Scandinavian countries, or even Canada, where you get time off. I think it just makes for better human beings overall.
Yeah.
Like tiny humans become better human beings when they have their family.
I agree. I totally agree. So the nerd in me right now wants to ask you a nerdy practical question of how do you actually, so you've got your book and you're like, hey, I'm good to go. How do you go about the publishing process?
Yes. Oh, I love this question because everybody thinks that you need to go through a big time publisher. I went through a publisher. It went horribly wrong. I'm not going to get into that, but it made me realize you don't need to go through a publisher. You can self-publish, and there's a couple of ways to do it. So first of all, because you have the goal of being inside of Barnes & Noble, you can get published through Ingram Spark, which is a self-publishing tool. but it allows other bookstores to be able to buy your book through their platform. So you don't even need to go through a publisher. You can literally put your entire book on through the Ingram Spark website, and away you go. You can sell it to any bookstore. You can go on the other side also and publish through KDP, which is Amazon. And the great thing about publishing through Amazon is it's on demand. So when your book comes out, if I want to buy your book, when I purchase it, it's printed and it's shipped off and it's in my hand 3 days later. So it's such an easy way to publish, and the process is quite simple.
Amazing. God, that makes it so much less scary.
Yeah,
doesn't it?
It doesn't have to be, for anybody who wants to write a book, because I imagine people listening to this podcast, they may have a book in them. Here are some of my biggest tools. Number one, when you're writing, do not edit, because when you're thinking about writing, that's your creative flow. That's one side of your brain. And when you're editing, that's your practical, logical side. It's a totally different part of your brain, and they compete for attention, and it just does not flow. So when you're writing, just write. Don't even worry about what it looks like. Edit later. My second tip is to choose times where you can just be in it and nothing else, and do it every single day. You have to write every single day. So are you writing right now? I'm going to hold you accountable right now on this podcast. Are you writing every single day?
I'm not, no. And it's a practice that I need to get into, because I started writing my email threads, and I was on the plane flying back from Cyprus, and I wrote this email thread, and I was so in flow, and I wrote it. And then when I got home, the whole thing had bloody deleted. I was so annoyed with myself. I know I lost it all, but no, I'm not. But I'm really finding that I'm getting into that practice with my emails and being consistent on social media and stuff like that. But yeah, I need to write.
Write every single day. And the easiest way to write so that you can use it for your book later is, do you have the app Evernote on your phone or your computer? So Evernote's free. Get it. It's got a cute little green elephant. This is not a plug for them. I'm not sponsored by them, but this is literally how I wrote my book. You just write, and you just make sure that you categorize it. So if you're talking about, so my book is broken up mind, body, and spirit. So if I'm writing about the body that day, I just put body, and then I write everything I have and just get into flow. Don't edit or anything. And then later on, I can just search for all the different places where I put down, let's say, headaches, for instance, and Evernote will pull up every single note or anything that I've ever written about it. And then you can aggregate that information and formulate it into chapters. It just makes your life so easy. And you can do it when you're offline or online. And also, do you have an iPhone?
Mm-hmm.
So you just speak to text. When you're on the go, you have an idea, you just open up the app and you just speak to text, and it just gets all there for you. So there's never an excuse not to get your information down.
Oh, I love that. That is so good, because I'm always out on a dog walk and then I'm thinking about stuff. And like you say, you need to get back and get it written down. But that's such practical advice. That's so good. Oh, I'm excited.
It makes it so easy. And then you hit on something that I would love to talk about, and that's, you have the proof, you have the evidence. Procedure is what we call an NLP, of how you've actually accomplished the goal that you set out, and that's to be in the New York Barnes & Noble. So I have to ask you a couple of clarifying questions. Are you doing a book signing there? Are you just picking it up off the shelf? Are you sitting and reading it in the cafe? What has to happen for you to know 100% you've hit your goal?
It's a book signing, for sure.
Okay, a book signing. So it's important, right? Mm-hmm. So often we talk about, envisioning what we're going to have at the end of it, right? Like, a lot of people talk about doing all of these visualization processes. I'm sure you've heard this, like the secret and all this different stuff.
Yeah.
But they miss the mark on so many things. One, you have to have, what is the exact thing that has to happen for you to know that you hit your goal? Number two, you have to bring in every single one of your senses. So let me ask you a couple of questions, okay?
Oh,
yes. Where are you going to be signing these books? Like, if you were to describe to me the scenario, where are you signing these books in the Barnes & Noble?
So in the store, it's the one in Union Square, and on the second floor, there's like a coffee shop there. There's a Starbucks there. So you've got the Starbucks there, and then there's like a railing that sections off the shop to the coffee shop. So then just next to that, there's going to be a table, and then I'm going to be there. There's going to be a banner next to me with my face on it.
Amazing. What does the chair feel like?
It feels a bit cheap and hard.
Okay.
It's like quite an old store, isn't it? It's quite an old shop. Yeah. So I feel like it's like brown and wooden.
Can you feel what it would feel like sitting in that chair?
yeah, I mean, it feels like a throne because that's how chuffed I am with myself in that moment.
I love that. And so if you were to go ahead and close your eyes, I'm having her close your eyes, you guys.
Okay.
Close your eyes. What do you hear? What are you surrounded by? What sounds do you hear?
I can hear all the kind of like the cups and stuff from the Starbucks. So, you know, like general background chatter. But then, yeah, it's a busy store. It's a really, really busy store. So I can hear like all the background chatter. I can hear the cups. And then I can just hear little bits of chat. I hear someone like young who's really excited and they say, oh my God, that's her. And it makes me think, oh my God, she's just said that about me. And that's what I would have said about the person of the book that I picked up when I was there.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And if somebody were to, yes, 100%. And if somebody were to walk up to you to get you to sign their book and they were to open the book in front of you, what does a pen feel like in your hand? What kind of pen is it?
It's a biro.
What color?
Black.
Amazing. And who is standing up to have you sign their book? Who can you see?
It's a young girl, and she has come to me because she was just massively lacking in confidence, and she's had a major breakthrough, and she's quite emotional, and she's just really, really grateful. And I kind of see in her me, you know, that kind of like that person when I was in Barnes & Noble and I was feeling totally lost, but I was just so grateful for what I was reading in the book that I found that was really starting. I started to think, oh my God, I can get out of this.
And one last final piece. Since you are near the Starbucks, are they brewing anything or cooking anything? Can you smell anything?
Yeah, I can definitely smell Starbucks coffee and an egg roll.
Like the egg sausage rolls?
Yeah, the egg sausage roll. I actually love, though, in Starbucks, they do a cheese and Marmite. Do they do cheese and Marmite in America?
We don't have Marmite in America.
Oh,
no.
You're missing out. You're missing out on a huge part of life. But do you not like it? Oh, Marmite is life. Yeah, it was a dark time though. When I was pregnant, I was absolutely smashing the cheese and Marmite rolls from Starbucks. But because I'm in America, it's an egg and sausage roll.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no. Yes, that's okay. That's a good point. That's actually an important distinction. So I just want to explain to anybody who can't obviously see Carly right now. It shifted between when she was saying what she wants to like envision, and then when she started describing what it smells like, what the people look like, what it feels like to sit in the chair, you know, the sounds that she like, you lit up. You lit up so much. Did it feel differently? Could you feel just like how much more intense it is?
Yeah, totally. Because you feel like when you think like that, it feels like it's genuinely happening. And I've been in states like this before. When I was, a big thing when I was promoting to the top level of my company, and if I promoted, that meant 5 days later I was going to be in Maui, and I was getting myself in that place of feeling like I was in Maui, like I could feel the hot, weather on me and stuff like that. And I think when you get into that place of feeling like it's genuinely happening, you can't help but feel so much joy that it is a definite change in the makeup of your body when you're in that
your
place.
Physiology. Yeah, it changes completely. And so anybody listening to this, if you have a goal, definitely incorporate all of your senses when you're thinking about this goal and bring it in, because it does help you. It's not because it's magic. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, it's magic. I've envisioned it. I've thought about it. I can smell it. It's mine. But it's more about when you open yourself up and do this in this way, you open yourself up to more possibilities. People who envision what they want to get, they actually see opportunity where others who don't think it's possible just shut down to opportunities, or they say no when they could have said yes, or they don't even bother getting up to do the work. So there is a huge kind of psychology behind winning, and this is a big piece of it.
Yeah, totally. Oh, I love that you just helped me get into that state, because I love being in that place. And I know that that's where I know you say it's not magic, but it feels like magical when you're actually in that place. And it is also a practice as well, isn't it? Like you have to do that consistently. You just can't think of it once and then be like, oh, it's going to happen. I feel like you have to consciously put yourself in that state.
Yeah, all the time. Daydreaming is a good thing. And it's funny because I say it's not magic, and yet the name of my company is Inspired Magic, because I do believe that real magic happens with the power of the mind. So it's my own form of magic. But for anybody who has a big goal, it's important to just come up with whatever your evidentiary procedure is. And like you said, Maui, for some people, they know it's going to happen when they're on the plane. For some people, it's when they get the ticket. For some people, it's when they get promoted. but for you, it was like when you could sit in Maui and feel the heat on your face, then you know it was happening. So it's different for everyone.
Yeah, totally. It totally is. Oh my God. I'm just loving chatting to you. I'm looking at the time though and thinking, oh my God, we need to wrap it up. I just don't want to. So before we leave though, I do want to ask you a couple of questions. These are my like quick fire questions. I always say they're quick fire questions, but the answers normally end up not quick fire because we've got so much to say. But okay, first of all, what does success look like to you?
Success for me is being able to choose what I do with my day. That's what success is for me. And it's not about money or anything like that, but it's like, it's 10 o'clock. What can I do with my time? What do I choose to do? That's what success is ultimately for me.
100%. Choice is so powerful. What is your favorite book or podcast?
Ooh, well, this is becoming my new favorite podcast.
Thanks,
and as far as books go, I have The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. I read it at least 3 times a year. I give it to every single one of my clients. Have you read it?
I have, but actually I read it years and years ago when I really wasn't on my personal development journey at all. It's probably the first I read, and I kind of got it, but you know, when you're like, yeah, I probably wasn't ready to listen to it. So that's a really good shout to go back to that.
Yeah. Listen to it on audiobook, and it's Jeremy Irons who has like, I'm an American, so we're like, ooh, British accent. Ooh.
That's so funny. You guys are crazy about the British accent. Whenever I do like, I know, it's so funny though. Whenever I do a voice note on Instagram to an American, guaranteed they always come back to me and like, oh my God, I love your accent. They don't sound like that. They're not as shrill as that, but
I bet
that's what they would say. It's so funny. But I'm like, you've got an accent.
We're obsessed. It's a thing. You know why? Because you can't make anything sound mean. I've tried. You can't make it sound mean. It always sounds so polite.
Really? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe spend a day in my household. We'll see. Okay, and then lastly, who is your biggest inspiration?
My mom, big time. So my mom immigrated to the United States when she was quite young because of the Vietnam War. So my mom was born and raised in Vietnam. And yeah, I've just seen she, dropped out of college in order to get married, raise a family. She went back at 40, ended up getting her master's, just retired from teaching for the last 30 years. Like, she's amazing. She walked the Camino de Santiago de Compostela by herself. It's a 500-mile walk by herself.
Oh my God.
She's my inspiration for sure. She's a rock star.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I mean, you can see how you've obviously taken on a lot of the same qualities. That's so cool. Oh, I love that. I've got to love a powerful mum. Amazing. Thank you so much. Where can the listeners find you? I feel like my listeners are going to be like, who is this woman? I need to work with this woman.
Yeah. So my website is inspiredmagic.com. My book is Inspired Magic, Your Guide to Transforming Your Life with the Power of the Mind. And then oddly enough, I'm on TikTok, you guys. I know that everybody's on all the social media, but I'm actually a TikTok partner. So I create educational content specifically for TikTok. So it's just Michelle Hillier at Michelle Hillier, HILLIER. That's where I post most of the stuff.
Oh, so good. Do you think that I need to get on TikTok?
Yes, 100%. Yes, 1,000%. And I will help you. Yes.
Oh, yes. I need all the help. I look at stuff and then I think, oh, yeah, I'm going to have I've got a creative idea about that. But then it's in the execution. I need to actually do it.
You just have to do it. And there's a huge shift. It's not just, preteens dancing and doing comedy. There's a huge educational component on TikTok right now.
Oh my God, I love it. Maybe I'm going to have to get you back on and talk about TikTok.
Yes, we'll do.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle. I've loved talking to you. I could literally talk to you all day, but we both need to hop off and get our babies.
Get our babies.
We've had this 1 hour window and that is our lot for today.
It is so true.
Thank you so much. I could talk to you for hours. I'm just so grateful for you taking the time to do this. I know my listeners will absolutely love it. Thanks.
Bye now.
Bye.
Oh my God, how good was that? I mean, I told you she was epic, but don't you know what I mean now? She's just got this way of making you think, and I hope that you felt like you were there with me in Starbucks, in Barnes & Noble. I mean, I actually hope that you are going to be there with me when I do release my book, but I just loved how she was able to kind of get me in that state and really think about all the kind of tiny details. So, I just loved chatting to her. So if you loved that and you want to hear more guests on this podcast like her, then it would mean the world to me if you would go onto my Apple Podcasts or whatever site that you currently listen to it on and give me a 5-star review. And as a thank you, if you screenshot that and email it to me at admin@carlymyers.com, then I will be doing a draw every single month to give away a free one-on-one coaching call. So I so want to give back to you. It means so much to me and the support that you're giving to me, and I really can't wait to connect with you. So I can't wait to see you soon and bring you the next episode. And remember, you are made for so much more than you can even imagine. Bye.